Hey there guys, in this video I'm going to be showing off the Opticor, or just a beginner's build for the Opticor. Now, this is our build I'm going to do right now. It's going to be a little more advanced than my other builds. It's going to be using it's going to be using some more harder to get mods, specifically Split Chamber, and I think I have Vital Sense in this one. And if you want to get those mods, the way I've gotten them was by opening up containers in the Void, and yeah, pretty much that's the way I got it. But you have to open up specific containers. You know, it's a whole entire thing. Just go search up how to best way to what was it? No, I think it's like best containers to open in the void. I don't know. I forget the name of the video, but I'll put a link in the description if you want to find out. I would recommend that you if you to watch the video and to basically do this strategy, because you can get some really good mods from doing that. You can get split chamber, you can get intensify, all that kind of really good mods, and I would recommend you watch that and actually do that strategy. So yeah, but let's actually get into the build of the Opticor that I've made. So as you can see, with the Opticor here, and here's the build. Now you know it's all that fancy. I haven't formed it yet. I have put a Arcan Catalyst on. But I feel like this build, you could probably go higher. You could probably add, maybe, again, for the specific build of, like, the, headshot only really build, for, like, for critical, multiplying critical hit, build. I feel like there isn't really that much you can add in. Argon Scope, again, from right here isn't really the best, but, you can put that on if you want. Maybe Hunter, munitions, 30% chance to apply slash damage. But again, that's you kind of want mods that are going to kill the enemy straight away, because the Opticor is one of those weapons that you want to kill straight away. So this is kind of the conclusion I've come to when doing this. If you do form this a couple more times, you can probably put Shred on, because that adds more fire rates. That means you'll be firing off a lot quicker, and also adds puncture, which is also would be pretty good for hitting through enemies. Again, this weapon already has amazing puncture, but this is you can still add on to make it so that you can do more. But from looking at it, this is probably the for a newer player, for a beginning player, or around Master Rank 11. This is a pretty good build. It will get you through most levels, maybe like level again. Actually, saying this before I actually get further into the video. I've been testing this out. The heavy gun is down there that I usually use for my build videos. It doesn't kill them that quickly. It kills them about like 3 hits, headshots, I'm pretty sure. Which again isn't really that fast for a weapon that only has 5 in the magazine. But again, saying that, again, it's beginner's build, so it's not gonna be that effective. It's not gonna be that more effective. It can still one-shot enemies, but that's more of like that's more of a chance thing. And I'll talk about that later in the video, and how that like one-shot kind of mechanic is kind of weird, and I don't really know exactly how it procs, but I'll talk about that later in the video. And I'll get into that kind of topic later in the video. I'm just going to mention now, this build won't kill level 85 heavy gunners, so at high-end sorties, probably not the best. Beginning sorties and sorting after that, pretty good. Most play, also pretty good. I find this build very, very fun, especially when you're trying to get headshots on enemies. It's just so satisfying when you get headshots on enemies and you just one-shot them. So a pretty good build overall, but again, not the best one you can get. Okay. So as you can see here, we got accuracy, 100. It's a laser gun. What else do you expect it's gonna have accuracy? What do you think the accuracy is gonna be like? It's gonna shoot all the way up. It's a laser gun. It's gonna have 100% accuracy. Then we got charge rate. Now, if you have never used this weapon, you've never seen one, or never seen this weapon in play. This weapon is a charge weapon. It's kind of like a bow, except a little slower for the charge rate. I would kind of like class it around something between the Dread and the what do you call it, the Dako. I know that one bow that has like a really slow charge rate. In between one of those, it's pretty slow, and that's why I put speed trigger on. Again, it's not a full speed trigger because it's not enough capacity, but you could do that if you want to, if you form it. But again, you don't really need the form rate that much unless you want to, because there's not really that much else you can add. But if you do want to make it go to the extra mile, as I said before, we can put Shed on, and also it increases to a maxed out speed trigger mod. And I put that on to make it so that the charge rate, just goes up, so it's not unbearable when you fire it. Again, with this charge rate, I feel like it's pretty good. It doesn't really, hemorrhage, you're kind of like playing. It doesn't really affect it that much. without it. But again, I kind of like it, so you can just fire pretty fast. And you can fire quickly, more quicker at enemies, and it's just a lot more effective. And that's why I'm also recommending you put Shred on if you do want to form this and go the extra mile. Yeah, and then we got a critical chance at 50%. Critical chance is really good. I found this again, like I said, if you haven't read the title, this is a headshot build. I found that there is only a small chance, like a small amount of times where if you're going on the headshots, you're going to not get a critical hit. Um, but again, there is a chance. I think it's like one out of every 6 hits. 6 hits, one every 6 hits. No, I think. I don't think it's even correct, but like it can happen. But it's not going to happen a lot. So it's uh it's a pretty good number, 50%. Again, if you're even a higher player, or if you've been lucky with RNG and you've gotten more mods that increase critical chance, more substantially than Point Strike, I would recommend maybe putting that on as well. But again, you don't have to. I feel like the speed increase would be a lot better and a lot more efficient. So yeah. Then we have the critical multiplier at 7%. No, 7.7 times. Sorry, I got that wrong. Which is just ridiculous amount of numbers. If you get a critical hit onto an enemy, you're just gonna take chunks off them. And even that's only when they're really high. That's only if they're extremely high. Most of the time, once you get a critical hit on them, the enemy's just evaporated, because if you have used this weapon or seen someone use it, when you kill an enemy, they evaporate, and it's just so satisfying to use this weapon when it's like that. But this is why I made it a headshot build, because that's the most likeliest way of getting a critical hit onto an enemy. If you have a Banshee on your team, that they can expose weak points on the enemies, which are also I think they're like a guarantee. No, I'm pretty sure it's a high chance to get a critical chance when you're hitting that spot. I don't think it's a guarantee though. And I think that they're the most vulnerable spots on the enemy, and they're just, if you hit there, it's gonna be unbelievably, you're just going to do a lot of damage. And and as I said before, that one shot on the heavy gun, level 85 heavy guns down there, I'm pretty sure the reason that that's happening is because I'm hitting its critical spot, because I'm pretty sure every single enemy has their own one at each spot. So each one has the exact same. I'm not 100% sure about that. Actually, I might test it out when I'll switch to Banshee and see how that works. I have my Banshee here, and I'll go check that out actually in this video and see if it is. Look at the fire rate. Now, I don't know what this is here is for. I have a couple guesses why the fire rate is here. That might be because because of the rate where you fire. But again, I don't know. I think it's just here just for it to be here. I'm not 100% sure why it's here, but it's there, and I'm guessing the speed trigger has affected it. So it's a positive anyway. So let's quickly switch over to here. Sorry I forgot to do that. So you can see all the positives we added. Then we got reload, which is because of fast hands. Now again, this is something you can take out. The reload is pretty bearable. But again, I like quick fire. I'm one of those guys in Warframe where I just like everything quick. So it kind of annoys me when a weapon reloads really slow. But for the Opticor, I'm kind of fine with the reload without it. But again, I would like faster hands on. You can switch this out with something else if you so want to. Maybe if you again form this is probably the most efficient way. You can form this once and switch it out with Shred. Yeah, you can switch it out with Shred. And I think that should also give some room for one more. I maxed out speed trigger. Sorry, mine just went off for a second. And you could do that if you so want to, but I kind of like fast hands. Look at the status chance, which is strangely increased. Again, there's no real point for this. I just realized I thought I was talking about my kind of the build I've been kind of working on for a bit. My status build. And no, not as effective as this, but it's still pretty effective. But I was looking at that, I was gonna be like, oh yeah, we have status here, but there's no point in having status. That was just added on because with the hammer shot, which is here, which is the only reason I put on here was to add the critical damage, to increase the critical multiplier to about 7. And that's the only reason here. The status chance kind of is an extra, but again, there's no point in having it on here because there's no status on this weapon. So I don't know. And that's pretty much it. And then we have the damages, which are increased to pretty high numbers, especially with puncture. Now, sadly, because it's a puncture weapon, it's not gonna be as effective as compared to if it was fully slash, or even if it was fully impact. I feel like impact is probably a little better. But again, it's still pretty good. Still high numbers of damage, and also the slash is still pretty high as well, which would use these damages as well. Yeah, so pretty good. And let's actually have a look at the mods that are actually on here. So as you can see, I've already talked about a couple of them, like fast hands. I've talked about what here, so won't mention that. Speed trigger, as I mentioned before, to increase the fire rate of this weapon. Pretty good. Again, you can switch it out with shred as well. If you form this, you can switch this out. I found that's also pretty effective if you want to. But I feel like you don't really I feel like having speed trigger first before you form it is still pretty good, and still pretty effective. Then we got point strike. This basically increases the critical chance. Again, it's not as important when compared to hammer shot and vital sense, which increase critical damage. Critical damage. It's more important to put to focus on increasing critical damage than critical chance. It's just kind of just add on, and usually I will only put critical point strike on. That's pretty much it. Sorry. I'll only ever put point strike on to increase the critical chance. I'll rarely ever put any other mods on. If I did have them, I don't. But oh, I do have Argon Scope, but again, I don't really use that mod anymore. I used to in the past, but I've kind of gone back, and now I only use point strike. So the reason for that, because critical chance, it only increases the critical chance. It's a lot more important to increase the critical damage, because that's what's actually going to put most of the damage into it. So I just only really put point strike on. Again, you can put something else on if you so want to. Build any way you want. This is just my build and my recommendation to you guys. And then we have, again, I talked about this hammer shot. This is increases 60% critical damage, really good for increasing that critical damage, which is the whole entire heart of this build. The whole entire this is the core of this build. Very important mod. Again, I see this. I don't know exactly where you get this from, but I've seen this being on alerts. So look out for that. A couple days ago on PC, I did see it I did see it was appearing up. I think I saw it appear twice in this past week or something. So it is it does come up pretty regularly. So look out for that, and I'll recommend getting it because it's a very good mod. Then we got Vital Sense. Again, probably the most important mod of this, which increases 120% critical damage. Very good. It gives pretty much most of the damage onto this, and it's just very good. It's a very good mod. Again, like I said before, this and Split Chamber both come from. Well, where does it come from? Void containers in the void, obviously, if the void containers. And again, like I said, I'll link a video in the description for you if you do want to actually find out how to get those void containers and get these mods from them. So okay. And it's a pretty good mod overall. I would recommend farming the void for this kind of stuff. It is a little boring at times. I got bored from it a lot, but it is worth it at the end for Vital Sense, because it's just a very good mod. For crit builds specifically. Incineration, again, don't really need to talk about it. It's just a straight up damage mod, damage increasing mod. Very good. Should have it in pretty much every single weapon. Then we have Split Chamber. Again, this kind of just an extra mod on to add that little sting of damage onto the end of the weapon. Very good. Again, not as important. You can probably switch this out if you want to. But I like it. I like the increase on our base damage. Pretty much just a knockoff version of Incineration. But still very good. Again, it's kind of a very spare mod. If you have room for it and you have space for it, I would recommend putting it on. But most of the time, I don't use it as much. It's a very rare mod I use, but when I use it, it's pretty good. And I kind of like this mod, so yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay. Oh, well, why is these guys reset done? Okay. Okay, let's go put some guys up then and show off this build. This build. Now, actually, I'll go grab the Banshee quickly so I can go and have a look skis. That was so cringy. At the let's go. Where's Banshee? There she is. Let's grab some energy so I can have a look at their critical spot. Now, I'm pretty sure I rarely have used Banshee, so sorry for this one. Okay, So yes, it is in their stomach. So actually, I should probably take off my carrier. Now, when I was playing around with Banshee before, not Banshee, with the Opticor before, I was firing at their stomachs to see how it worked, and I was just, I just one-shot them straight away every single time, or not every single time I hit there, but if I did hit there and it did proc, I would get a one-shot, and it was just unbelievable. See right there, one-shot in the stomach. So this weapon's very good with a Banshee. That's interesting. Is this guy a little different? Oh. Okay, try that again. Stomach here, fire there. See, that's pretty much instantly. And this one's got on the head. Ah, okay. So each guy's a little different, you know, as you can see, most of the time it's more likely to have in the stomach. Again, I'm kind of like new to the kind of crit spot area thing. So if my information might be a little off, if you do notice that and you have, you do notice inconsistencies with that, like, kind of stuff, put in the comments and tell me about it so I can actually, so I can learn and grow as a player. So, you know, thank you for, if you do notice it. So let's grab some energy. Go remember to do that. So as you can see here, see that, you know, different spots. So assess them. Yeah, so some of them are on the stomach, some of them the. Oh, okay. So it's a little different to each area. Ah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So again, I'm a quite new player, so I'm learning with you guys as well. So yeah, as you can see, so this weapon's would be very good with the Banshee. Again, I wouldn't be a Banshee with this weapon because again, this build specifically kind of needs you to having like a tank kind of. You kind of need to be a tank with this weapon, because especially like really good with Rhino, because when I've been playing games with it, it's good to be like hide behind, you know, corners or corridors, be further back from the battle and just firing off of them because this has really ridiculous ranges, and it's kind of stay back from the combat and kind of just taking as much damage as you can because you need to be aiming at this weapons for a good couple seconds. So you need to be able to take hits from enemies, because you know, saying if like, you know, if an enemy like saying this guy's hitting me, I'm trying to shoot them. If I'm moving around like this, trying to like dodge their bullets, it's kind of hard for me to hit them, as you can see, and even hard to get a headshot. So it would be a lot more. It would just be better overall if you use a tank, and a lot more easier to use this weapon if you use a tank, you know, tank class Warframe. But you know, you can do whatever you want, but that's just my recommendations, and you know, you can still do it if you want. So as you can, let's test it out. So you can see it does do pretty good. You do pretty substantial damage to the head. Most of the time, as you can see, you know, not every single time it's gonna get a crit hit. As you can see, sometimes, most of the time it's gonna, if it does proc a crit, it's gonna be like, as you saw, like 8,892 damage, something like that. So sometimes you can get to like 10,000 on the head, but I'm guessing that's only if it's in the crit spot. I'm guessing. Not 100% sure. I missed that. That's terrible. And yeah, it's a little different, you know. Every single time. So yeah, so why'd I go there? Sorry for that. So I kill enemies and just re-simulate that. So you know, again, you know, as I said before, again, it's not really going to be the best for killing enemy, you know, just enemies straight up, you know, this build specifically, it's not really good for level 85 enemies. It's more just, you know, just a gun you're just going to use, you know, in missions and kind of stuff, low level missions. It's not really going to be a build that you're just going to utterly, you're just going to go into the higher level plays and kind of stuff. Now, again, I've seen people with this weapon utterly destroy any enemy it looks at. But again, I'm guessing the only way you can do that is when you get higher level mods up in a higher level. So if that is the case where this weapon only really becomes really good at the higher level plays, I feel like this build, in my opinion, from what I have and from what resources I can actually pull from, this is probably the best build that I'm able to make for myself and the best build that I'm guessing a lot of new players can get. So I would recommend making this build. Oh, sorry about FSC. I would recommend making this build if you want. If you have other ideas of how to make this build, make a build for this weapon, put them on. If you put them on, just go ahead, just do anything. I made some recommendations for you, and you can do it if you want. You can just do whatever you want. You know, it's Warframe. You know, it's a game of freedom. You can do whatever you want. It's a free country. Oh yeah, that was so satisfying. see. So it looks like for a level 85 heavy gun, it's about a 3-shot headshot if it does proc crit every single time. Yeah, every spot's a little different. Approach. Okay. There you go, and... Huh. See, not every single time, it doesn't always proc a crit in that area every single time. It kind of seems like that crit spot, if it does proc, does the most damaging one-shot heavy gunner, a heavy grenade gunner. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Showed you a couple things, and pretty much just gonna end the video here. If you guys liked the video, I recommend liking it. If you hated it, dislike the video, and tell me why you hated it. I want to learn, as you know, as a YouTuber. I want to become better. I just want to learn. And if you saw anything I said wrong, any ideas I have wrong, any thoughts on the game, or any ways I make stuff, if you see anything wrong with the way I do things, please tell me in the comments, and I will take a comment in consideration, and I will try and improve myself from seeing that comment. So yeah, I'm just getting the video here because I'm not really that good at ending videos.